Tatiana, and my channel is created by Lady T. And in this channel, I talk about quilting, sewing, and crochet. I also give product reviews on items that are related to sewing and quilting and crocheting. So this video is part of a series that I have 101 reasons to get a Bernina sewing machine. And in this episode, which is number 14, my 14th reason, I'm going to be talking about the Bernina machine and whether it's a better idea to get a brand new machine or a used machine. So first of all, I want to tell you that my B770 Quilters Edition, when I purchased it, was brand new. Out of the box, I paid full price. It came with the embroidery module as well. So this isn't cheap. It was $6,000, the embroidery module and the sewing machine. And this is not the top of the line Bernina machine at all. It's just it's not the plus. It's not the 770 plus. It's just the regular 770. When I bought it, I didn't know that there was a difference. I think the plus came out a year after I bought this. I'm happy with the machine. It's great. But I'm talking about, like, if you want to buy a Bernina sewing machine and you don't have $6,000 to pay, what do? Well, there's different things that you can do. You can get a brand new machine that's a lower range, such as the Bernina 300 series or the 400 series or the 500 series, although the 500 series, a brand new one, can go up to about $6,000 as well. If you want any embroidery module with your machine and you want to be able to toggle the embroidery module with the machine, it's going to be more expensive because it does two separate things, and that makes sense. Now, so if you have the money to pay for a brand new machine, this video is not really about you. Go buy it, pay for it. You could finance it. If you have the money laying around in your checking account or your savings account, go buy it. You want it, get it. That's great. Most of us can't do that. Most people, if they want to buy a brand new one, they have to finance it. Another option is to get a used model. So that is a really good second choice. And this is what basically this video is about. Should you get a brand new one or should you get a used one? First of all, I like to say it really depends on your finances. So if you could afford a brand new one, I would say get the best one you can possibly afford. The one I'm wanting is the 790 plus, which is above this range. It does more things. And I actually want the plus because the screen is larger and it does triple stitches and just a whole lot more than what my machine is doing right now. Not that I'm unhappy with my machine, but I do want a 790 plus. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a used or a brand new one right now for me. However, if you are thinking about getting a used machine, there are a few things to consider, and this is why I'm doing this video. First of all, the most important thing you have to consider is the stitch count of the machine. Yes, these machines have stitch counts. That's like mileage on the machine. Very important for you to be aware of that. So when you buy a new car, a used car, you want to know what the mileage is on the car. So some people, they want a brand new car because they want one without any miles on it, like it's got 30 miles or something like that. And we all know that the more miles a car has, the value depreciates. That's the same thing with the used sewing machines. I've had my 770 since 2021, and I already have 4,546,550 stitches on my machine. So it's already gone up to 4 million and halfway there. that's something for me to consider. It's about 1,000,000 stitches a year. It comes down to just a little bit more. That's okay. It's not really bad, but it's not like a brand new machine. Now, when these machines get to 20 million stitches, they start breaking down and you really have to replace the machine. It's like a car. If you have like 200,000 miles on a car, everything starts breaking because the car's aging and it's getting old based on not just the year that you've had it, but the miles you've put on the car, how much you've used it. And for me, for this 4 million stitches, I'm happy with it. I service mine every year, once a year, both my machines, my 480 and my 770, I service them regularly, which adds to the value of the machine. So if someone is selling a machine, and I'm going to talk about the different people who you should buy it from used, one of the things that person has to disclose is the stitch count. So if you're going to buy a used machine, find out what the stitch count is and the year of the model. So if, example, 2021, and you've got 4 million stitches, it's not bad. That's good, for a used machine. Now, if you're going to be buying it from an individual, you're taking a risk, not because they're lying, because you would be able to find out what the stitch count is by going into the machine and looking. And actually, they have the service date in there as well, if it was serviced by a Bernina technician. And also, it will tell you how many stitches were put on the machine since it was last serviced. And then there's also a breakdown of, and this is really secondary information, how many of the stitches were used for the BSR, how many of the stitches were used for the embroidery. It gives you a whole bit of a breakdown. That's fine, the breakdown is good, but the total stitches is what you should be really concerned with. So if you buy it from an individual online with an online third party, and I won't mention what those third parties are, but I think you know what I'm talking about. If you buy it from an individual, you need to make sure that they disclose the stitch count and the last time they got it serviced. So most people will tell you, if it's an individual, they'll say this was the last service date. And the problem I have with online, and if it's going to be shipped to you, first of all, the shipping is going to be very expensive because you've got this huge embroidery module as well as this really heavy machine. So if you're going to buy it online and they're going to ship it to you, you have to consider the price of the shipping as well, that you're buying a used item and you're buying it shipping. If you can find a local person to buy it from, you can go to that person's home and look at the machine and try it out and see how it works, and you like it and you're happy with it, great. Some people put in little extras. They give you presser feet, they give you the BSR. Now, there are some things that you really should be getting, even from an individual. You should be getting the book, the instructions book. If you have to look up things, you should be getting the foot pedal that gets the whole machine going. They really should be selling the embroidery module with it. If they don't, then they should lower the price more, because there's no embroidery module, because if you're buying a 770. And you also want to make sure that there's no dings or any problems with the machine. And so they should disclose all of the information. And then you should go try it out. You know, if you go to a local place and it's not being shipped to you, you can try it out. How do you feel about the machine? If you like it, then buy it. It depends. And that the used prices of these machines can vary from $2,200, where originally it was $6,000. They do depreciate fast like cars, by the way, as well. So it could go anywhere from $2,200 to $3,000 for a used 770. with an embroidery module. That's just something for you to think about on the average. And I've done this research by looking at what's online. Now, if you buy it from an individual, I personally think, doing local pickup, going to that individual's home and seeing the machine and trying it out is probably the best thing that you can do. And I've sold many machines to individuals, my past machines, and I've always done local pickup. I had a garage sale, as a matter of fact, like 6 months ago, and I had an old Singer machine that was also an embroidery machine. And this lady wanted to buy it, and she tried it out, and I got rid of that Singer machine, and I didn't have to sell it online or anything, and it was really good. Most of my machines, if I sell them, not most, all, I want to do local pickup because I want the person to try it out and feel good about the machine, and I'll disclose all the information. So someday when I sell this, it's definitely going to be local pickup for me, unless I trade it in to a dealer and get some money off on another machine. So that's another thing, is you could buy a used machine from a dealer, and dealers will usually look at the machine very carefully. They will make sure that it was serviced, properly serviced. They will be very honest. So for example, I service this by a Bernina technician. I have the paperwork for it. So definitely, if I were to sell this machine, I would disclose the paperwork as well. Here's where I got it serviced. Here's the service agreement. And actually, this one has a service agreement until September left. So if I were to sell it like in June, that person would be able to go get a service in September. They would get one. I can transfer my service agreement when I sell my machines. But if you buy it from a dealer, what you want to do is, first of all, again, you want to look at the number of the stitches that you're getting for the machine. And if the dealer is local in your area, and the dealer is has a good service warranty with the machine and a low stitch count, that would be great. If it's very unlikely that you would get a 2020 machine or a 2000 or 2001 less than 1 million stitches, because the average sewer, whoever had it before, will have put a lot of sewing time in their machine, because that's what they do. They want to sew with it. But if it has like 12 million, which I was looking at a 790 plus a few days ago, a used one, and the price was really good. It was the Crystal Edition, and they offered the machine and the embroidery module. It was from, I think, 2020. And the Crystal Edition, which is really pretty. It looked really great. They were offering the luggage with the machine. And it came with all these different presser feet, plus the BSR. It looked really good. But then when I asked the stitch count of the machine, they said 12 million. And I thought, wow, that is a really, really used machine. And I passed it up. The price was really low. Now, if you don't care about the stitch count and you purchase a used machine, I don't think the higher the stitch count that you're going to have, the less years you will have using the machine. So keep that in mind, that you bought a used one and it has a lot of stitches, and some people don't care, because just like a used car, some people will buy a used car with 150,000 miles, and they realize this is an older car. It has 150,000 miles, and they're planning to keep it until it gets to like 250,000 miles or something like that. Cars can have 300,000 miles even. But the longer you put miles on it, the more miles and the more stitches, the more repairs it's going to need. And then at some point, it's going to be a bad investment for you if you've planned to keep the machine for 10 years. Now, if you're planning to keep the machine for a few years, you will just be able to buy another used one. Some people do that. They go for buying a used one to another used one, and it's okay for them. And that's fine too. I'm not judging that, because, you know, that works as well. The only thing is that if your machine gets to 20 million stitches, you're not going to be able to trade it in, I don't think. You may find somebody to trade it in, but it's like having a car that's 250,000 miles. What ends up happening to those cars is that they get salvaged. So with these machines, if it gets to that point, most people usually donate them, that I know of. There's my cat in the camera, sorry. But if it gets to over 20 million stitches, you're going to end up having to donate it. It's going to have very little value. So yeah, you could get a crystal edition for like $3,400 with the embroidery module that has 12 million stitches. But think that how much you're going to put in, how many stitches you're going to put in. So let's say if you put in 1 million stitches a year, so you'll go to 20 million in maybe 5-6 years. So, or 8 years, I'm sorry. So think about that. You'll have it, but the more stitches it has, the more breakdown it's going to have. That's why if you have a warranty with it from a dealer, and if it's a local dealer, you'll be able to go in and, you know, get it serviced all the time. And no matter what Bernina you get, brand new or used, you need to maintain it. That means that you need to service it every year. And the servicing on the Bernina machine is not cheap. This model is, if I didn't have a warranty, it would be $200 each time just to get it serviced. But I bought a warranty with this, and I use my warranty. So it was like $500, and it's the warranty that I have for this. It was $500, and it was good for 3 years and unlimited coming into the store and getting it repaired or serviced. This particular store has changed their warranty. Now they give you, for $500, you get to bring it in 3 times. So that means one time a year for service charge. Regular maintenance is probably all you're going to be able to do for 3 years with the service warranty that they have now. These warranties are getting more expensive. So that's another thing, is you should look at the warranty. But when you're looking at the warranty, think about once a year, you have to service the machine and the embroidery module. You need to do that. And if you're going to service these machines, you should buy a prepackaged warranty rather than pay it full price, because it's just cheaper. So if you're going to do that, what you have to consider is the place. And that's why buying online may not be the best thing to do, because you're not going to take this machine and put it back in the box and send it to the people that came, even if it's a store. And, you know, I love a particular store, and I won't say the store's name, and they're in Chicago. And I won't, you know, I would love to be able to buy a machine from them, but, you know, it's not practical, because just shipping it is really, really expensive from Chicago to California. It's not doable unless I took a road trip out there. And then every time I need it serviced, I would have to take a road trip up to Chicago, and that's like 3 or 4 days of driving. So that's why I'm saying, if you see a great deal online, really, really investigate it. If you see something that, especially if they give you a lot of little things with it, like luggage, the carrier luggage that matches the machine, it's very enticing, because the luggage is very expensive, the brand new luggage. That's one thing. And the other thing is, why are they giving you all of these freebies with the machine? Because they want to get rid of the machine, whether it's an individual or a dealer. And they will say anything, just like a car dealer. So you have to really approach this very, very smart way. If you do buy it online from a dealer, you should also be able to see if they have a warranty on the machine, just in case, because you don't want to buy something that's going to break down in 6 months. My best advice is to find a local dealer rather than a dealer online that's in a different state from you. It's just easier. And the closer your dealer is to your machine, the easier it is for you. Now, I get my machine serviced in San Diego and I live in Los Angeles. So once a year, I make this pilgrimage trip to San Diego. I take both my machines, my 480 and my 770, to San Diego, and they service my machine. I have to get a hotel room there. I make a little mini trip out of it, and I have to make sure, I'm not working so that I get my machines serviced. It's a really nice dealer, and the person is a Bernina technician, which is really important to me. And there aren't really that many places near my house that I like for technicians. So, and the place that I bought this from originally has gone out of business. So that's another thing. I can't take it back there. So I'm okay to drive to San Diego once a year for the service, the yearly maintenance service. If it breaks down really badly, I will do that too. I'll make the trip out to San Diego. Now, it's from my house to San Diego, it's about 2.5 hours. It's not a big deal, and it's not an ugly city to go to. And one of my best friends lives there. So I make a little trip out of it and have dinner and lunch with her, visit with her, stay at a really cool hotel, and have a little mini vacation out of it. And I'm good with that. But you have to know your lifestyle too. And you have to know that these machines, no matter how good they are, they will have problems. You will have problems. Now, I know how to troubleshoot, and I don't have a lot of problems like I used to in the beginning when I was a novice sewer. I do a much better job these days with keeping my machine in good condition. Plus, I use chrome needles, which are the really strong needles. I use the proper needles for the thread, so I don't have that much needle breakage. I oil my machine regularly. I'm very proud of that. I do take really good care of my machine, and when I have to sell it, when I decide to sell it, I will give the person all the knowledge about the machine, all the information. I will disclose any of that and be very transparent with it. You want to make sure that if you're buying a used one, that the person that you buy it from is transparent with you. Now, if you look over here, there's like a little sample stitch, little piece with the sample stitches. This is because I just got this machine serviced a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't used the machine since. I've left it like this. The reason why I've left it like this is because I am contemplating getting a new machine. And if I get a new machine, I will sell this machine, and I want to be able to disclose that it hasn't been used since I have gotten it serviced. And it does say it on the screen as well, so they can check it out. That's my thought. Now, with that being said, I'm not really sure I'm going to do this yet. I'm just contemplating it. And so for now, I'm just using my 480 machine. I'm not going to replace that anytime soon. So I'm just contemplating possibly getting a 790 at this moment. But if I don't find a really good used one with limited stitches, I may trade this in for a new one too, if I find a dealer that would give me a good deal. And that's, something that I have to still do research on. So for the time being, I am not using this, and I'm just keeping it like this until I decide if I'm going to sell it or not. If I go back to using it, that means that I'm not going to get the machine this year. And that's a possibility for me as well. So here's some things that you want to look out for. Stitch count, total stitch count, really important. If it gets, I would say the average sewer should be doing 1 million stitches a year. That's my guesstimate. On the average, maybe a little bit more than a year, 1 million. But if you've got a machine that is 5 years old and it has 14 million stitches, it's a red flag in my opinion. It's like a car with too many miles. Now, if you want to go ahead and get it because the price is really good, or you can negotiate a good price because of the stitch count, that's up to you. But you also have to realize you're taking a bit of a risk. And so something can go wrong with the motor, something can go wrong with the overall machinery, because these have a lot of high-tech things involved in there, or the motherboard. Something can go wrong with the motherboard and it has to be replaced. The replace costs may be more than the price you pay for the machine. So that's really something you should be asking a lot of questions if you're going to get a used one. It's like that old adage, buyer beware. Ask a lot of questions about the machine. Try it out, feel it out. Does it feel right? So that's just one. Sometimes if you do buy online and they deliver it to you, you have 30 days to look at the product. If you want to return it, you could return it. But I don't know what the shipping fees would be related to that. It just depends on whatever deal you make with the person. But again, and I'm just repeating this, if the deal looks too good to be true, if the price of the machine is so low, there's a reason why it's going to be low, like a car. And also, a 790 plus is about $10,000 with the embroidery module. If you get the 790 Pro, it's a little more than $12,000, brand new, spanking brand new from a dealer. So if you see any of those that are like 3,200, I would say anything below 5,000, really take a good look at it, because it may have too many stitches on there, or there must be, and if they're giving a lot of things with it, like the luggage or a lot of presser feet, they're just putting those in as freebies, but what you're really buying is the machine. So think of, again, as a car, if it came with the all these little extras that the car has, but then the car has a lot of miles, why would you want that, you know? But if you do, and you're okay with the risk, and, you know, I'm not judging that either, but for me, I would want a reasonable amount of stitches. I certainly would not want to buy one. If I bought a 2021 790 Pro, I would not want any more stitch count than what I have on my machine. That's how I'm gauging it. What I have or less is what I would be willing to settle for. So if it had 8 million stitches, forget it, because it's about the same year as what I have. And so for me, that would be a good compromise, because then I can sell my machine and get some money for my machine as well. That's my business head. I mean, I'm not really a business head person, but that's about as business head as I can be. So these are just words of wisdom for you. And this is my 14th reason to get a Bernina Sewing Machine. So if you like my channel, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, created by Lady T, and I will have more information about Berninas in this channel. Bye for now.